Hey, I love you guys all, and if you guys haven't, please go subscribe to Coyote Tune since it will be my main channel after this month, and I will be producing a lot of animation content and another verse. So please go subscribe, please. This is also a spoiler review for the movie, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then I recommend you watch the movie first. So here we are again, another Minions movie finally released into the Despicable Me franchise. Now, you guys already know I love the Minions, obviously. I mean, you guys can already tell by my channel, the Demarcus the Minions stuff, all the reviews and stuff. Yeah. But if you guys were here from the beginning, you guys would remember that in the video still up till this day, I did review Minions The Rise of Gru when it first released in theaters. Heck, it's even like, what, the 4th year anniversary today? This movie came out on the 4th year anniversary of Rise of Gru. Good. But, so, of course, you guys already know that this movie is kind of one of my most popular videos on, like literally one of my most popular viewed videos is on this movie when it first leaked back in what, October of 2025. Yeah, I'm surprised it got 7,000 views. And then I did a reaction to the trailer. I didn't really like the trailer that much. Something about it was just too off. But I still waiting for this movie to come out, hoping that it was good. And I did mention this in the Not Alone video. I did like what yesterday by the time we're recording this. That the Illumination after Migration, Gwen is now, well, not anymore, was on this now losing streak of going back to not making great movies. It started with Despicable Me 4. Despicable Me 4 wasn't trash or a bad movie, but to call it a great film or anything would be kind of disingenuous. And don't even get me started on Mario Galaxy movie. That's just no. So my expectations weren't really high with this movie, but I had the optimism that, well, this probably won't be on the same quality as Despicable Me 4 because this is the Minions spin-off movies. Won't be the same quality as the Despicable Me movies. Well, for the longest time, I've thought that Rise of Gru is the best Illumination movie, and I kind of do think it still is. But this movie kind of rivals most of the Despicable Me movies and Minions movies. But let's get into the plot. The plot pretty much follows. So this movie set in the 1920s, before Minions, so a prequel to a prequel. Basically, this one show how Minions had influenced Hollywood in the industry, and three new Minions: James, Ed, and Henry. James, the main one with the one eye, is the one that has the vision for the films. And one day after he gets like kicked out, and pretty much every Minion gets kicked out. I forgot what reason why. I think it's because like two fat dudes who are relatives, or I think is relatives to the human character Max, who looks like Mario's dad or something. Didn't like what the Minions were doing with the movies, or they kicked him out. And James gets this idea to make a Minions and Monsters movie. Max gives him a few equipment to work with. They end up summoning monsters, and it just goes on from there. Now, in this movie, for the person they have to play Goomy, one of the main antagonists for the movie, one of the monsters that they summon first to get the other monsters in, he's played by Trey Parker. You may know him as most of the characters from South Park and Balthazar Brat. So it was pretty cool to see him come back, and his voice really does fit Goomy, especially for what they were going for. And I forgot what the other dude's name was, but he did Panda's voice in We Bear Bears, and he recently did King George's voice in Hoppers, and he plays he plays a blue monster in this movie, and there's another monster in this movie, which is just a pink monster. I've kind of forgot their names. But I just want to touch upon the idea that they already shown in this movie that not all of the Minions were within the ice cave when they were in their depression era. Since these tribes that we see in the movie, the tribe we see in the movie, were still out looking for bosses. Because in this movie we see they go to a big caveman, which is ironic because they did find a caveman displayed in the first Minions movie, a wizard, and cowboys, until it was realized that the cowboy section was actually a part of a movie, surprisingly. It was kind of confusing. You'll see towards the end why I say that. But in the leaked audio when the movie released, it was showing how pretty much the movie would begin with modern day people addressing these minions and their influence, and it does go on with that. So, but you'll see what happens at the end too. That was also confusing. I think the chemistry between the three new minion leaders is pretty good. I know Dick, Richard, by the way. Um, I'm not sure if you guys know this. Maybe some of you don't, because it's not really common knowledge about beyond this. Dick wasn't really a character until he was made for this. He was just in this movie. He kind of was, but he was kind of used as just like a box art for some Despicable Me 2 DVD covers and stuff. But here's an actual full length character, and I gotta say, the animation is of course as great as Illumination's animation. It is. It's no Spider Verse. Don't get me wrong, but it's probably just the best animation out of every animation company besides Sony using Spider Verse. But yeah, I feel like every minion in this movie did indeed work, and when I mean every minion, I mean every minion. There was one where it was a Dave model, and for some reason they just kind of keep him like this for the entirety of the movie, where Dick just kind of hits him with a metal wrench, and he just kind of stays like this for the entirety of the movie. They don't even try to fix him, but I found that cute. I thought Mac was an okay character. He's probably one of the most forgettable characters, especially since he's not even around for like the other half of the film until like at the end of the movie. But I guess he's an okay character. He just reminds me a lot of Mario. Like they just used his character model and just detailed it a little bit. So let's get to the villains. Goomy, the one played by Trey Parker, I thought he was okay villain. He was clever definitely, and the other two monsters were good. His plan was to obviously destroy the planet. It's established in the movie that in the past, in their prime, that they were pretty much destroying planets or like discussing destroying planets, fear mongering and stuff like that. And they kind of almost do it in this movie. Basically, their plan is to summon like pretty much their strongest friend, and it's like the blob from Goosebumps. Imagine that, but it's orange and has like a lot of eyes, and that's what you get. What's something that's kind of disappointing with this is that I've seen a lot of speculation earlier this year when we saw that Gumi was basically Cthulhu, like a kid's like a mini Cthulhu. I thought he was really gonna transform into like the kaiju Cthulhu thing form, just like I saw some people talk about. But I guess him just staying in this cute form is fine. But now let's move on to Dort. Who is Dort? Well, he hasn't been shown that much in the marketing and promotion material, but basically there's a part of the movie where the three minions want to make their movie, and Dick and the rest of the tribe just go out to find another villain. I believe they posted this on Twitter, the only clip for some reason on there, where they meet Dort at like a little small robot convention, and basically his plan is to rule planet Earth. And later on, like not even that long after they meet him, they run into I forgot what it was called, like women activist rights people, and he falls in love with this one woman, this one brunette white woman, and I think I find their chemistry cute. Honestly, they're not top five or anything, but they're pretty cool. Dort was pretty cool. I liked the scene where there was like some thugs picking on him, and like when they tried to fight him, he kind of didn't even take that much damage. Like he was just picking stuff up, and they somehow kept hurting themselves. And I think he threw like one punch, and that's all he needed to defend himself. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Anyways, climax of this movie has the big monster being unleashed. I forgot what the orange monster's name was, but it was like a girl. I forgot what her name was, but they get unleashed to the city, to the 1920s equivalent of LA, I guess, and it is straight chaos. Literally, I didn't think. I mean, obviously, I know the minions are chaotic and stuff, but compared to what they would have in these other Despicable Me movies and the other two Minions movies, this is 100 times on a bigger planetary scale. This is probably the worst, not worst, like where they're bad villains, but like this is probably the most dangerous foes that the Minions have faced yet, and probably will. So how did they take this monster down? because they tricked James and Ed, I think, to film the Monsters and Minions movie, but they end up, but like their plan was to unleash the monster while filming the movie, so to distract them. So of course the monsters terrorizing L.A. Well, during this, Dort and his girlfriend, they're on a date, and right before they kiss, that's when that monster interrupts them, and she says, "My robot boyfriend will take that thing down." He runs away, but I thought when he ran away, like it was just a coward run away. He came back while everything almost looked like everything's gonna be eaten. This man came back with a UFO because it is established he is from a different planet. But then the other minions get UFOs, and it's the most insane stuff ever. Like they're running, they're doing exercises while doing these things. They're taking a bath while shooting the orange monster. It's crazy, and I kind of like it though. The writing is very strong in this movie for some reason, and I'm not. That's not a complaint, but I didn't expect the writing to be this powerful in a Minions movie. Like, oh my goodness. So, at the end, it looked like this monster was kind of unstoppable because it just kept eating everything, of course. The minions didn't die from getting eaten by this thing. So, how did they do it? Well, they just kept attacking the orange monster. They basically learned that it gets crispy and that's how it dies, but it can regenerate. So, what Dort does with all the minions with the UFOs, they pretty much get like a supersonic blaster, like you know the thing from Sonic Adventure 2, like what was it? The egg Death Star or something? That thing where the blast was insanely strong. Well, in this movie, I would say it's like that where they get a blast as strong in like all of them, like all of these guys surrounding it, and they shoot it at once, and it basically disintegrates the entire monster. And that's where the remaining monsters are sad to be like, no, our plan failed. And that's when James and the other minions pretty much just take them back to the prison. And that's where they're never mentioned ever again. Then that's pretty much where James Minions and Monsters movie premieres in universe, and he wins an Oscar. You think that's the end, right? Well, we cut back to the present day, and apparently everything was straight up just a movie. Like the woman talking to everybody, that was a movie. The story, I think the story is still true, but like everything made it look like everything that was in this movie was straight up just a movie. The two alien dudes were not alien dudes. The two monster dudes were props. That big orange thing was a prop. Gumi's really the only monster that's actually real, and everybody's just an actor there. Even Dort was just an actor. Even his girlfriend was just an actor. Everybody was an actor. So I thought that twist was pretty cool. And there is a post-credit scene. It's not even that important, but it's interesting that they're adding post-credit scenes now. Well, they have been doing it since 2023 because Mario won with Yoshi. But the post-credit scene is just Bob and Stuart finding the book they used to bring the monsters in. And they just kind of take a pic and just start morphing it, putting Gru's face on it. And that's until Gru shows up. And you can tell Gru's about to get upset at them. But then, like, Stuart takes Gru's clothes off. Then he just runs off, embarrassing him. So, yeah. This was a very welcome surprise. This will be my last review for any Minions movie, unfortunately. So I'm just happy that the last one I'll be reviewing in this channel is going off a high note. In a conclusion, I give this movie probably like a 7.5 out of 10. It was really good. I think it's better than the first Minions movie, but the second Minions movie, I'm gonna have to think about that. But that's all I have to say. Subscribe to Coyote Tunes if you guys haven't yet, and please set your notifications for the real reason why Mini Me shuts down, coming out next Friday.